Hello. So here we begin my YouTube live adventure with all of you. Um, just before lots of people or really anybody gets in here, I just want to remind everyone. I just want to remind you guys. Wish there was some way I knew. Okay, we got some people coming in. Great. Just can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Just let me know in the comments over here if I can come through nice and clear or if I need to change anything for that. Oh, sweet. Good to hear. So, just while we're waiting for a few more people to show up, I just wanted to remind you guys that every single day for this week at least, and then going forward, we'll definitely have to see. But every single day this week, we are going live at 4:40 or thereabouts. So we're trying to upload our videos around 4 o'clock for everyone, or maybe just a little bit beforehand. Then you can watch that whenever. And then obviously, these are going to be left up so that you can see them afterwards. Hi, Helen. Good to see you. So these are going to be left up there as well. So you can always watch them another time. And if you aren't able to come to the live portion of this, then don't worry about it. But if you're not able to make it to those, make sure you leave comments on our videos so that we can go look at those. And if you have a question, I could then answer it, or whoever is doing the YouTube live could answer it that day. And then whenever you're able to watch this one, then you can go back and do it then. So definitely you can still be involved with these even if you can't make it to the ones that we have every day. So this week we've got a bit of a shorter week because of Easter and the Monday and all that. So we've only got 4 days this week. So today, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. Then next week, we're back to that Monday to Friday grind. I hope everybody had a good long weekend. It's a bit different though, definitely, because you have usually a long weekend is like this extended break where you can spend more time at home and get a little bit of that sort of relaxation away from be it school or work or any of those things. And definitely this year that's been a little bit different considering, it's an extended break away from nothing because you're still where you usually are. But sometimes I know a lot of people have been able to connect differently, have video chats with family and things like that. And, being able to communicate, even though it's different, is still super important. And I'm really glad that that's been something that's been able to work out for a lot of people because it's a tough time to sort of be isolated, but you can still find ways to be isolated together. And I think that's something that relates really easily with our habit and quality this week of caring and consider and understand others. Like I mentioned in the video, which you may have not seen yet, which is all right. This is a bit of a spoiler, but we'll go for it. A big thing is considering the needs of others and understanding what people need. And being able to communicate with others in this time right now. Sometimes people really need others to check in on them and just say like, hey, how's it going? And not everyone's going to be as like open to be able to say like, I need someone to check in on me. No one's like picking up their phone like, oh, I need this, because that might not be what people are more willing to say, but they might still need that. So considering others and checking in on them can really make a big difference and really show that you're caring for someone, and really trying to consider and really, understand what people might need in this time. Because it is something that's very, very different. And for some people can be very difficult as well. So our habit and quality this week really matters and makes a big difference with that. So definitely remember, we are here. We're going to be here every single day, 4:40. The other thing is, if you can't make it to this and you want to call and maybe you're having some trouble, some issues or things like that, during our normal sort of business hours of 8:30 to 4:30, you can actually call our office and be able to connect with and talk to somebody who might be able to talk to you back. So we do have that available too. So we're not just here in the YouTube live stratosphere and stream of things. And then, like I said as well, you can leave comments on those videos. You can comment on our Instagram posts, our Facebook posts, all of that fun stuff. Just different ways for us to connect. So we've got a few people in here now. So I want to ask a couple of questions relating to the video and the activity that we did. So if you didn't see it, I'll quickly explain. It was the domino disaster, is what I decided to call it. And what we were doing was I decided to set myself a bit of a challenge of knocking over a large sort of basket. One quick thing I just wanted to make sure. When I mentioned about calling in and being able to talk to someone, our phone number for that, you can find it online. So if you just go to our website, you can get it there. Or it is 416-466-9987. And that'll come through to our sort of directory of people to talk to and things like that. So 416-466-9987. So back to our activity at hand and what we were doing is I have this cool, it's not close enough to grab, but it's this large like basket for carrying stuff and it collapses down. I show it off in the video. I really like it. It's a very cool party trick that I like to bust out. I'm a lot of fun to bring that to parties. So anyway, I wanted to knock that over with a single domino. Now, obviously, I could just maybe whip it even harder than I did in the video, and it might have worked, but that wasn't kind of what I was going for. So I have used that and sort of like built up all along the way to get enough force behind it and enough power and enough of sort of the domino community to help me out and knock over this larger piece. So I used some books, an old video, an old VHS, which I definitely have more than one lying around. So that was good. I had that. And it worked, you know, and it was really cool. And it was something that, you know, I was fairly confident was going to work, but it was still really exciting when it actually ended up happening. That was like when it happened and I cheer in the video, that's me actually cheering because I was super, super excited. What can I use if I don't have dominoes? Cheerio, that is a great question. So you can use just about anything. There's lots of different things that you can get. So if you have a couple of books lying around, then it's okay. If you use for this sort of thing, you can use different size books. You can use, see, I only had one pack of Jenga, or not Jenga. That is the next answer I was going to give. I only had one pack of dominoes to be able to use, which wasn't as many as I would have liked. So I had those Jenga blocks, which were a little bit bigger, and then I sort of built it from there as well. Like I said, there's books, there's different things like that. Kind of anything you could get to stand up straight, you can use. So there's lots of different ways to be creative around that for sure too. Was it hard to make sure the dominoes didn't fall over? Actually, yes. I was going to get to that in a little bit, but I definitely had some difficulties setting this up. If you actually go back and watch the video, you will see that I say when I'm setting everything up at the beginning, before I grab everything, I'm like, I've got 3 books. Then when you watch me actually do it, I only use 2 books. Now, a little Easter egg. I know we're past Easter, but figured you could have that one. So the one book I was using, it was this really thin yellow one that I thought was going to be really good to tip over to start the other books, because then I knew if that one went, the other ones would go. But as I was setting it up, I started working from the biggest down to the smallest. And when I set up the big ones, when I set up that other yellow book, the first time I set it up, it totally, just while I was setting up some other things, tipped over on its own and knocked over everything. And that was really frustrating when that first happened. But I was really glad that it didn't go the other way and knock over what I had already been working on. But it's definitely something you can't just like throw them all up and then hope for the absolute best, because it might be difficult and it might not work a couple of times. Now, for me, it only fell apart one time when I was setting it up, because I just took that book out because I knew everything else could stand on its own. But when I was setting up those dominoes, because the floor isn't perfectly flat, there were points when I was setting it up and it was kind of like leaning a little bit, and I was really nervous that it was going to fall over. But luckily, it was able to sort of remain. And then once it was set up, it was good. I was very, very nervous when I was getting it all set up, because I was like, now that I've got this set up, I'm ready, it's set, I'm really excited. I didn't want it to fall over ahead of time than when I wanted. Um, and so that was something that I was like really nervous about, but luckily it all worked out in the end. And you know what? If it had fallen over, then it might have been a little frustrating, but it's just another chance to make it maybe better than last time. So choosing my response through that. So there's 8 people watching right now, and I don't know how many of them are in the chat right now, but I want to ask you guys a question. Did you think that it was going to knock them all over? Did you think that I was going to be able to knock over that one big thing with the one small domino? Did anybody think that it was going to fail, or did you know that it was going to work? So nope, and not really. Was that no, sorry? Was that you didn't think it was going to work, or you did think it was going to work? Mm-hmm. It's hard though, because it's like it goes from pretty small. There's a bit of a jump, definitely, from the Jenga blocks to the other. Um, oh, so you guys didn't think it was going to work. And you know what? It's really easy to think that way, because, like I said, it's going. There's a bit of a jump, especially going from the small up to the large. Now, I don't know. I don't know if maybe if I just made them all in a single file line, I could have made a way more impressive one, but I don't know if it would have gotten enough push. So that was why what I did is I decided to use sort of the strength of having more people, more Jenga blocks involved to make it a little bit more of a push. That was something that I'd thought about beforehand. Um, Definitely, I think if I did it again, I might try doing it with just the singles and try to find a few bigger pieces to make it do up until then. But I'm happy with the way it went. Um, so I talked about it in the video a bit about how it kind of relates to communication. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this kind of has anything to do with communication, or maybe what did you guys think about what I'd said about that? Did that make sense, or how like different pieces need to be there, otherwise the whole thing won't work and it'll only get so far? What did you guys think about that? All right, Zeke's buds coming through. Love the example of taking out the one domino piece and how that affected the whole system. Yeah, that's the thing. It's one domino, and just it's like one of us or one of our actions. If that's missing, then it makes a really big difference. When I took that domino out, it wasn't going to work. It was only going to get so far. All of the rest of the pieces were there, but it needed that one bit, that one other thing to push. So that could be an action that you have to do, or just the way in which you say something, or it could even just be you being there and being a part of something can really have a big impact. And especially relating to the habit and quality. It's the way you say something can either make or break what's going on. So that's awesome that you guys like that. It's not something that's maybe the most easy to sort of see the relation to, but communication is a ton of different steps. When I get up and I'm starting there at the beginning and I say like, "Hey, welcome to Moorelands LeadON," there's all kinds of different pieces that I need to make sure I put into that when I communicate. And if I'm missing some of that, then it's going to miss that for you. I might know in my head what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to get across, but unless I actually work to get that across and remember to say it, then you're going to be missing part of the piece, part of the puzzle. part of the domino effect, because it's just maybe trapped in here. And I might get frustrated thinking, how come you don't get this? Why can't you see what I see? And that's something that can be really, really important for us to remember, is people aren't going to know what you are thinking unless you explain it. And that's a really important lesson, I feel, for us to remember. Zeke continues on and says, very cool to see how little things like dominoes can have a big impact or ripple effect, eventually knocking down the big plastic thing. Absolutely. Small things like that can make a big, big impact. And yeah, John C., I definitely, taking out that one piece, I also had to be really careful which piece I took out, because some of the gaps were smaller than others. So I just wanted to make sure that I got that right. But yeah, it can make a really big difference. And that's where, too, if you're caring to someone, that small action can have a really big impact down the road. You know, it doesn't have to be something like you're missing something or something's negative. Doing something good and doing that can really, really make a big impact for people later on. So yeah, is this something that you guys think you would maybe want to try with maybe some different things, or being able to see yourselves? Like, what do you guys think? Is this something that you would want to try yourself, or would you just be happy to watch this over and over again? Because it's a lot less time to set up when I do it. Then after we answer this, I got one more point, and then we can open it up to see if you guys have any other questions or things like that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool designs out of the dominoes. That would be a really cool one. Thanks, Cheerio. Definitely trying it with that would be cool. John C. asks, could I make ramps and things too to get more complex? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. So you could get as complex as you want. I wasn't sure how many pieces I would have and things like that, and I wanted to keep it a little bit easier for myself, for sure. But you could get as complex as you want. There's tons of videos on YouTube you can see too of people who have made what are called these Rube Goldberg machines. What they are is they're the ones that like maybe knock a ball into a book that then sends another ball down like a ruler and set all these cool little things off. It's like a really, really big version of what I did. Those are really, really fun to watch. And some people are so creative. Very, very cool. Oh, have it build up and then open a door. That might be cool. Helen asked, so what was the office phone number? So once again, I said it a little bit earlier, but I can reiterate it now as well. We got 416-466-9987. That's the office phone number for our office in Toronto. As much as we're all not actually there, we still get our phone calls. So you can definitely still call and get a hold of people there. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. So Helen, you're saying that you need dominoes. You don't actually need dominoes themselves. There are lots of other things you might be able to use. So like I mentioned, you can use books. You might even be able to use shoes if you can get those to balance on their sides. Anything that you can get to stand up, you can use. And that also means that you can be that much more creative as well, which would be pretty cool. So my last thing I wanted to sort of say before we move on to our last little piece, which is to see if you guys have any other questions for me or anything like that, is if I had any regrets about this. And I think Zeke actually mentioned something. He said, go big or go home. And I think that would be my only regret, kind of, is that I could only go so big with that big black thing that I had. And I wish I had some bigger stuff, or I'd use a little bit more stuff. But, you know, maybe if you guys like this video a lot, maybe I could do another one in a couple of weeks or something, revisit it and see how big I could go. Maybe once it's a little bit nicer outside, I could try to put some stuff in out there. Maybe I could try to make one of those bigger machines that like sends different balls rolling and things like that. I think that could be a lot of fun. So we'll have to see. Maybe I'll do that. We'll have to find out. You'll have to keep tuning in. So we've been on for about 20 minutes or so. And I just want to see if you guys had any other questions. It doesn't have to be about the video, or it could be something cool that you observed, or do you have any questions about me as well? I like to think that I'm an interesting person, and at least one or two other people do as well. But I'd love to open it up. If you guys had any questions like that, let me know in the chat, and we can get to it. And remember, if you can't think of any questions right now, you can come back tomorrow when Zeke will be on Moorelands Live at 4:40. A great activity to show, decide, and plan. Absolutely. Because if I want to maybe open a door, like you mentioned, Zeke, then I've got to set that plan in motion and figure out what I'm going to do for it. That's a very good idea. Sully or Gilbert? Why not both? No. This is a question that gets asked to me all the time. And you know what? Realistically, you can't pick. You know, they both fill a very different space in everyone's heart. You know, some days you need more of a Gilbert fill, and some days you need more of a Sully fill. And the best days are the days when you can get both. So it definitely depends. And I don't really truly believe that one is better than the other. It's a very common misconception because I say it all the time. Let's see. John C. has asked, how come you didn't keep your half beard look from 2018? Yeah, that's a really good question. Maybe I should bring it back. Let me know in the comments. Just kidding. I totally won't. I will disregard any comments that tell me to bring back the half beard. It was pretty good. I got some pretty good looks when I had that back in the day. It was pretty fun. But half of my face was very cold because I did it in like the winter. So it was very cold for a while. Helen asked me, have I discovered any new hobbies during social distancing? Kind of, not really. But what I've been doing is I've been trying to focus on things that I've just been getting a couple of comments now about going back to the half beard. We'll talk about that later. So about my hobbies and things like that, what I've been doing is I've really been trying to focus in and spend more time on the hobbies that I had before. So I've been playing a lot more music. I've been trying to do more stuff with that. I've been trying to get back into a little bit of sort of exercise in the home and things like that, because now that I'm spending more time at home, I have a little bit more time once I finish work and things like that. So it's become something where I have a little bit more sort of, it's really easy to say, I don't have time to work on that, or I don't have time to do that. But especially now being at home all the time, it's very, very much about how you choose to use your time. Because when you're at home, you don't have as much pull on other people saying, or like, you're not spending the time on a bus, you're not spending the time in a car, you're not spending the time walking from place to place. So you're able to sort of use that time a little bit more and sort of give it the right value and things like that as well. Jody says, I'll use half the sunscreen for my face if I shave half my beard. Well, Jody, half of 0 is still 0. Just kidding. You should use sunscreen for your face. I learned that lesson very, very much a couple years ago. I was in a lot of pain from a lot of sunburn. It was not a good time. All right, so I'm just going to give this another couple of minutes, maybe another minute and a half. We'll go to 26 minutes of live time. And yeah, just to give you guys a bit of a heads up, for tomorrow's video, you better clear yourself a little bit of space and get yourselves on some good gear, because you're going to want to follow along with what we got tomorrow. What is my favorite map? John C., that is a great question. It's really tough. So MAP stands for Moorelands Activity Picks. They are the activities that we do every day at the camp during the summer. And so you get to do 3 of them. One of them is a swimming lesson, which, given that my name is Fisher, I actually love swimming lessons, and I always did. But I think my favorite map is probably, it's really hard to say. I think I really love wilderness survival skills. That might be one of my favorite activities. You know, you got fire building, shelter building. You learn about foraging and finding food and water. There's a lot of really cool skills out there. And then we've also had some people who have had a really high level with that, who have taken it that next level and taught some extra things like tracking, and sort of like following animals' tracks and things like that. It's very, very cool. I think that's probably my favorite map. Or I do like Land, Lake, and Sky a lot as well. That one's a lot of fun. That's our nature science one. So you do things like water filtration, and you learn a lot more than you would think there is. But I think wilderness survival skills, or WSS, is probably my favorite map. That is a great question. Thank you. All right. So in about 40 seconds, I'm going to end this. So if you got any last questions, you've got 15 seconds to type that out. I will answer any last questions, and then we will be out. So I'll give you a quick bit of time for that. You got give you 10 more seconds to type out any last questions that you've got. Thank you guys so much also for being here today. I really enjoyed our YouTube live time, and I hope to see you guys all back there. Cubics, Grenoble, what up? What up, everybody? I'm so glad that you're all here. We got everyone out. Cubics, obviously, represent Grenoble, because that's her lifeblood. I get it. Don't worry. It's not a question, though. All right. We got 5 seconds left for any questions to come in. 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the end of that. If you guys have any more questions, then absolutely save them for tomorrow or Thursday or Friday when we go live again. It won't be me, but I may be around in the chat as well. But you got some great questions and answers, and you'll be able to talk to Zeke, Johnsy, and Cheerio on those days as well. All right. This is Fisher for YouTube Live. Moorelands, LeadON. We out.